Thank you very much. For the debate, the member for Thornhill.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and I'm so pleased to rise today to speak on behalf of this motion. And as I received in a letter from the member from Trinity Spadina, he mentioned about Prime Minister Jean Chrétien designating by royal proclamation June 27th of each year as Canadian Multiculturalism Day, and that if this motion passed, it will show that Ontario remains committed to recognizing the valuable contributions that multicultural groups and communities bring to Ontario's social, cultural, and economic fabric. Well, I just want to talk a little bit about just a few events that I've been to in the last week and that I'm going to, and as people know, I represent the riding of Thornhill, which is one of the most multicultural ridings in the community, in Ontario. And I was just at this week, Monday night, was the Buddhist Association of Canada hosting the 7th annual Wesak Vegetarian Banquet, and I got to bathe the baby Buddha. It's a really fun ceremony, and it was something, you know, really something, yeah, say something new for me to experience. I was there with my friend Diane Chen, who is a really fantastic volunteer and advocate for the Cham Shan Temple, which is on Bayview in my riding of Thornhill, and I'm looking forward to celebrating next year's Chinese New Year and other events as well. They are right now fundraising, and this was a fundraiser that I was at. Basically, they're going to build as an extension of the Cham Shan Temple in the riding of Haliburton, Kawartha Lakes, Brock. The largest Buddhist retreat temple. It's called the Four Sacred Mountains of Buddhism, and it's going to be sort of replica visiting all 4 sites, and it's a sacred pilgrimage for the world's 350 million Buddhists. I sincerely hope that all 350 million of them don't decide to visit Peterborough at the same time, but we certainly look forward to seeing many of them there. My dad's up north of Peterborough right now, and I'm looking forward to visiting the new temple with him. We have coming up June 7th in Vaughan is going to be a celebration for the Philippine Independence Day, and Erlinda Insigne is president of the Canadian Filipino Association in Vaughan. And we have as well on June 9th the Shabbat Project of Toronto. I have a flyer here for it, and I'm actually going to be introducing the speaker for the evening, Dennis Prager, and it's called Maintaining Hope in a Dangerous World, and they're focusing on discussion of Jewish life in troubled times. And what I can say positive about the Jewish community, as a member of the Jewish community, is we have a way of having serious discussions and still making it entertaining somehow. I think that maybe that's our calling in the world, is to find some humor in difficult times. Last year, the Shabbat Project of Toronto had one of the largest challah, the ceremonial bread baking. I think there were 2,000 women in Brampton at the Convention Centre. Everybody's welcome. You don't have to be Jewish to like Jewish food. We all know that, Mr. Speaker. Tonight is the Spirit of Hope Gala, hosted by the Friends of Simon Wiesenthal. We know Simon Wiesenthal is a world-famous Nazi hunter. And this is going to be at the Toronto Metro Convention Centre. I'm looking forward to it. Tony Blair from the United Kingdom, former Prime Minister, is going to be the guest speaker, the keynote speaker. And again, it'll be a serious discussion with entertainment. That's the excitement that we're looking forward to, and of course, lots of good food. This Sunday, unfortunately, the member for Richmond Hill is going to be attending, as well as the member for Oak Ridges and myself. There is a pro-Khomeini, it's basically a mosque up in the riding of Oak Ridges, and they're having a pro-Khomeini rally, and there's going to be a counter rally. People who don't want to see radicalism spread to Canada, Mr. Speaker, I think that's all of our concern. This past May 18th, it was the Walk with Israel, and I did the entire walk, which circled from Coronation Park to Ontario Place, a big circle of downtown, with the new leader of the PC Party, Patrick Brown, as well as my federal counterpart, Peter Kent, from Thornhill. and it was fantastic weather. I think we walked with approximately 10,000 people, and they raised well over $1 million to support projects in Israel. July 18th, I'm looking forward to going with another constituent of mine, Laj Prasher, to the Festival of India. It's the 43rd annual festival, and it's going to be a huge parade. I'm really looking forward to it, and I invite everybody who's listening or here today to meet us at Yonge and Bloor. And they're walking all the way to Queen's Quay, so I hope the weather is going to be cooperative for that, and then taking the ferry across to Centre Island. And what their headline is bringing a splash of spiritual culture to Toronto. And I think that that's really what this initiative is all about, that the member from Trinity Spadina wants to bring more than a splash of spiritual culture to Ontario. He wants to bring a lot of recognition for all the cultural and diverse communities that we have in Ontario. I myself represent the Francophone community, and let's not forget that the Francophone community is one of the cultural communities in Ontario, even though it's one of the founding communities, even though that Ontario has many recognition for bilingual services, a bilingual university, Francophone colleges. We have a Francophone language, separate school system, as well as a French Catholic separate school system. And in recognition of that, this year we're going to be celebrating the 400th
400th anniversary, perhaps I can say it in French. It's the 400th anniversary for the Franco-Ontarian community. I think that Champlain came, and next September it will be the 400th anniversary.
Anniversary of Franco-Ontarian culture in Ontario. Really, it is a culture, not just a language of French. There's going to be many events, Mr. Speaker, many exciting opportunities to celebrate, and I myself am looking forward to co-hosting with the Canadian National Exhibition. The CNE was here yesterday for their reception, and I was happy to speak to the board members with my suggestion, which they seem to be more than interested in fulfilling, which is to have a Franco-Ontarian day or half-day at the CNE and invite all the different associations, les assemblées francophones, de venir, to come to Toronto to celebrate at the CNE their culture with maybe some singing, some I wouldn't say necessarily something Quebecois in terms of food choices, but I'm sure that we could come up with something, maybe sirop d'érable, maple syrup, or we can come up with something equally fun and equally delicious. I myself am going to suggest beaver tails, even though that's probably not exactly what they have in mind. But I love you love poutine. I love beaver tails with just a bit of sugar on it. Well, when we think of the cultures in Ontario, we really like to focus on the positive aspects of all the different cultures, and it really makes Toronto, I think, a wonderful place to visit. And one of the reasons that we do have such a vibrant tourist economy is that we do have places like Chinatown, as the member from Trinity Spadina mentioned, like Kensington Market, and many in the Jewish community, their grandparents were in the same shops as what is now Chinatown was, a sort of Jewish immigrant place to come, and the Jewish community, like many communities, starts to move towards the suburbs and then starts to move back. So that's what we're seeing certainly right now, Mr. Speaker. So what's the negative? We're talking about all the positive multicultural things going on in Ontario. What are the negatives? Well, I'm just going to read from this letter that I sent to the Honourable Sergeant at Arms about the Alkyds Rally, which unfortunately takes place in many parts of the world. And it really ties in with the pro-Khomeini, I guess we can almost call it terror recruitment, that can be going on in our own province right under our very noses. And the letter reads, with great urgency, I write to call public attention to the repeated demand of a group of public citizens to stage a demonstration of a deeply offensive, racist, and deplorable nature on the grounds of Queen's Park. The Alkyds Day tradition was initiated in 1979 by Ayatollah Khomeini to endorse and promote a fundamentalist strain of Islam, as well as the hatred and destruction of both the Israeli state and the Jewish people. And rallies take place, Mr. Speaker, all across North America, with slogans chanted and obscene sentiments suggested, with placards and, yes, even flags of known terrorist organizations which are now outlawed. So we have to focus and we have to bring the stage and the focus to the positive aspects of the multiculturalism and ensure that hate is not brought to our wonderful country and our wonderful province and all the wonderful communities. We all sort of enjoy the diversity, I think, and we enjoy meeting people from other cultures, learning about other cultures. We enjoy, certainly, as I've said, the food from other cultures. It's boring. It's boring, Mr. Speaker, if we're all sort of cut from the same cloth and eating the same food week after week and day after day. But we also have to recognize that too often people see multiculturalism as an opportunity to propagate hate. So let's focus on the positive. I'm really happy that the member from Trinity Spadina brought forward this proclamation, and we're certainly, on behalf of the PC Party, I'm certainly happy to say that we support and we look forward to celebrating all these wonderful events. I only touched on a tiny bit that takes place over maybe a 2-week period. We look forward to celebrating with all other the members of the House. We enjoy seeing each other outside of the legislature at these kinds of events, Mr. Speaker. We all know that we do, and we look forward to meeting many of our constituents and each other's constituents at the events as well. Thank you.